Welcome friends, my name is Agni Chandra, and in this video I would like to introduce you the pathway of Tantric Breathwork, which is really maybe the most significant part of OrganiCurrent methodology, because it's so profound and I really tap into it every day, and I'm sharing this experience from my own embodiment. So to make it a little bit more clear, because when you are in the wave of experience, sometimes you might feel a little bit lost. So in this video, I would guide you through 8 steps of this practice. And first one is landing and grounding yourself in the presence, opening the free channels for the energy to flow a little bit more freely. So those channels are the breath. So first we are just noticing the breath. Where is it? Where I say notice the breath, do you feel your nostrils? Do you feel your upper chest? And when you start noticing the breath, it starts changing. You don't have to change anything at all. It's perfect exactly as it is. It just wants to be seen. And then the sound might comes out. The sound that is like taking the energy a little bit lower, allows the whole system to decompress, to loose, to soften. So just like a spontaneous sigh. When you are tired, you also do like and you see what happens with my body? It sinks down to earth. And then there is this third channel for the energy to move. It's the literal movement. Okay, how do I feel my body? Oh, maybe it's like so or numb, or maybe it just feels good to give a little twist for the spine, or just to move my neck. And all those 3 together, movement, sound and breath, they start to awaken you into embodied experience of the present moment. And this is the first step, landing. And then we invite the breath to sink lower down into the belly. So we start this lower belly breaths. And then you can see that the belly softens and expands to the front and down to earth. And then we move lower into the pelvis, feeling the pelvis sinking down to earth. Feeling the seating bones opening the space of the perineum, the entrance to your central energy channel. We are also anchoring ourselves deeper into the earth through different parts of the pelvis. With this sweet energy of like, surrendering and becoming a little bit heavier. And when the body becomes heavier, something inside becomes lighter. And from this grounded foundation, we can move up the spine into the heart, centering our attention here in the profound goodness of the heart, in the tenderness of the heart. Connecting the sex that we are also inviting during this practice in its innocent and natural form, with the tenderness of the heart. So groundedness and heart-centeredness are our foundations to tap deeper with the breath. So landing, grounding and heart-centering. This is the second part. And then we invite the breath. We based our practice on conscious connected breath, and that means that the wave of the breath, it's not differentiated anymore for in and out breath. It's like in, out, like the waves. One merges into the other one, and it becomes like one wave of aliveness moving through the body. And we start slowly, just embracing more of that what feels good. All this prana, life force energy entering the body, and we use this yogic type of breathing. It means that we are like inviting it first to the lower belly, expanding, softening through the belly, and then the inhale travel all the way up the spine to the heart. And then with the out breath, that is continuous wave, the heart stays open. To expand and to charge the whole energy field with this goodness that we are taking in. And each time we exhale, we just create a new space inside the spine, like literally inside the spine. The central energy channel goes along the spine, exactly how our nervous system goes. So you can all just stay super gentle with that and just observe this movement unfolding inside of you. You can stay like that and just like naturally taking it a little bit more of the breath. And what is invited during this practice is the undulation of the spine. So this question of how can I support the life force? Breath, sound and movement. This is the supporting tools of her natural current. So like taking it in. You see what my pelvis does? Like my sitting bones, they go down to earth. Like I want to like plug in, like a charger. You want to plug in yourself into the source of this primal life force in the earth. So yeah, like plugging in through your sitting bones. And at the same time, you are like, it's like imagery thingy, quite subtle, but you are sucking your pubic bone up at the same time. And this image, like how would you like sip from the earth? How would you like drink the essence from the earth? And then what happens with the heart? It goes up. You see? And it's not that I'm doing something special. It's not that I'm applying a technique. It's just my intention guides this natural intelligence of the body to do those movements. And I don't need to mention how supportive is that for the whole nervous system along the spine. Expansion, contraction in the whole spine brings back the flexibility of the muscles around the spine and the flexibility of the spine itself. So this is the movement. And then with the out breath, you don't collapse with your chest, you stay open. Yeah. And then the chest goes inwards at the second part of an exhale. But don't be too brainy about it. When you just allow it to happen, it will unfold. And then we can also invite the movement of the hands. So like, as you can see, we can create a circle with this breath. It's like a circle moving through the body. In breath comes like in the back of the spine up to the heart, and the out breath comes to the front, like from the heart. So those are the circles, vertical circles. And we can draw them with an open palms. It's like elevating, even more elevating this energy up, and then like, And I really invite to start the breathing first through the nose. It's more gentle, and you can like, notice what is happening in the body. So first, we move through the nose. So I would call it a third part. So we just take the breath in. We allow the body to adjust. And maybe that will happen, that for your body it will be like, different movements. You feel like, there's like suddenly some stagnations arise through the body, and the body suddenly feels like, maybe to circulate with the hips. And you know what? Always follow that impulse first, because it's your own intelligence unfolding through you. And then you can check the undulation with the spine, and you only take it if you feel, yes, this is how I can support the current. And if there is anything else awakening through you spontaneously, this is always a priority to follow that. So the nostril breaths, the undulation of the spine, the movement of the hands, if that feels supportive. That's the third part. And then to open. When you feel like, okay, that feels like really good and I want it more, then you just open your mouth and start the mouth breathing. Mm. And you see what happens? Sound happens. It's not me making sound. The sound happens because I'm opening my mouth, I'm losing my jaw, and I'm softening through the throat. And in Tao Tantric practices, they also use ha sound. It's like this natural exhale with the sound. It also has a form of the ha sound, and the ha sound is being told to really melt the walls around the heart, the stagnation, the tension around the heart. So we are uplifting the energy up to the heart, but with the throat activation, she travels higher up into the throat. And with the sound, you are supporting your heart even more to open up and to like be in the wave provided by the life force. And then with the movement of the hands, we are lifting them a little bit higher up. So that would be the fourth part. Breathing, moving, opening the throat, opening the voice as one of the three main channels for the energy to move. And then if that feels comfortable, and only then, if that feels comfortable, remember that you can always go step back and bring yourself to the nostril breath. You can like drop the movement of the hands, you can drop the movement of the spine and just stay. And that is perfect because this is what you need in the moment. But if that feels like super good with the sounds and your whole body is like in the mode for this natural, spontaneous, organic dance, we can elevate the energy even higher up. And for that, we will use a straw breath. It's a breath frequently used in many tantric practices. And with this, we are like sipping the energy through the mouth, like through the straw. And one element goes upon the other, so we keep the ha sound, we keep the undulation of the spine, we keep the hands. And then with the straw breath, you might observe, when you do like that, it deepens the sensation in the pelvic floor. Your so-called Mula Bandha, the first energy lock, gets activated and it redirects the energy even more higher up the spine. Higher up the spine, and as we already said, higher up the central energy channel along the spine. And you can even visualize it that you are like having this flute, this straw along the spine, and the energy travels all the way up and even higher than the throat now. It goes all the way up to your so-called third eye, so the point in between your eyebrows. And again, to support it, you can just place your inner gaze here and continue breathing. I will do that for a brief moment for you just to feel and see all the elements all together. And as you see, the movement of the hands is already higher and the energy is literally circulating through the whole bodily system. And everything is welcomed here to support. Yeah, it's like you can probably even see it. It is fueling you on each level, physical, mental, emotional. So also your thoughts and emotions are welcomed in to fuel the breath. That would be, I guess, the fifth part, the fifth checkpoint. And then we have the breath holds. So I will invite at some moment to hold the breath, and then the energy goes all the way up. Just for a moment, it might be too much to really hold it, so we exhale a little bit, and then relaxing the palms, relaxing, softening the body. After exhaling a little bit, we hold for about 30 seconds. As much as you can be relaxed and internally focused, as much you can feel, oh, it's tingling, vibrating, maybe there's a hit, maybe there's like a pain somewhere and I can just relax towards it. So you are fully invited to look inwards for those 30 seconds. And then we again redirect the energy, sucking her all the way up with a straw. And I will invite you, I will guide you through that, saying, suck the breath up, using the straw breath. The inhale goes all the way up to the third eye, and you are focusing there your gaze. You are softening through the shoulders, allowing the heart to be naturally uplifted and the base of your spine to be naturally grounded in the earth. With the straw breath, there is this mula bandha, this pelvic floor contraction activated, and you just rest in the state of suspending the mind, in the state of suspension, spaciousness. We rest here for about 15 seconds, not longer. And then exhale down to earth. This is very important. Not to stay too spacey, no? We want to be both expanded and grounded. So after holding the spaciousness, back to the body. I'm quite lost in the calculations, so that was, I guess, the 6th point would be the breath holds. And then the 2 more steps. So then landing in the body, just in a fully relaxed position. We allow the body to be soft, spacious, not any rigidity here in the body. Rather this image of the body being like a, like a leaf in the wind. Soft. Facial muscles soft. Breath moving freely. There is nothing you have to do. How would your body feel like if there is like absolutely nothing you have to do? Just notice. And your attention is invited again inwards into the body to feel her current. This is how we learn, by observing this natural intelligence moving through the body, and now we can just like and whenever you observe any tension, contraction, you can just like, oh, it's here, so I can loose a little bit. And this is, we can call it a small dance unfolding through you. And for some beings it can be quite triggering. Being in the body, not for everyone, feels super pleasurable and safe enough to be there too long. There's vibration, it can be like, whoa, it's quite threatening. So then what I invite you to do is like, okay, if this doesn't feel that good for too long, you can always notice the sounds. It's the same life force, but not within you, but around you. And just stay focused on the sounds that are overflowing in the moment now. And then when this feels soothing to listen to the sounds, you can invite yourself back to the body. Maybe, for 1 or 2 seconds more. To rebuild your connection with this precious vehicle. And this is when the healing happens. Just by being comfortable with the intensity that the life force is creating in your body. For a little bit more, let's go baby steps. Let's go baby steps with that. So after noticing the energy in the body, then you are invited, the 7th step, almost the last one, then you are invited to go beyond the sensations. In Tantra we say that the sensations is Shakti, is the energy, the goddess, and the goddess leads to God, to consciousness. So by observing her current, focusing internally on those movements, we can also go beyond and see the space, the spaciousness in which the movements arise. And I'm guiding you there, also step by step, and you are diving as deep as your nervous system allows. And we stay there for again, like 5 minutes of just deep stillness, spaciousness. And there might be a sensation of the body melts, like this contracted structure of this is who I am, just melts for a moment. And when we do it as a group process, it's really the state of no difference, because we are there together and there is nothing more than the consciousness itself. Deeply healing, deeply rewiring, just to be in silence. And then the last step, as I said, OrganiCurrent is all about being grounded and expanded at the same time. So with the last element, in that spaciousness, we start to notice the sounds, the movement, the breath, inviting the life in, not different than the spaciousness itself. And then we start moving the body, and then we start opening our eyes, and you know what? Life happens. Life happens, and we are like more prepared to receive it for the greatest benefit of ourselves and all sentient beings. Thank you for watching. Thank you for receiving this transmission.